Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to the Body Mastery Challenge kickoff. And I'm John Hines, Jessica Hines. And today, what we're going to cover is basically talk to you a little bit about the Body Mastery Challenge and what's involved with it and who's going to be speaking today. Now, the reason why we're doing this entire event is because many reasons. It's basically because we see that during stressful times like now, people need more balance than we need to get more jacked or hit PRs on push-ups or pull-ups or something like that. And so we thought of really dialing it back as far as the training goes and putting more emphasis on what brings us back more towards balance over like setting PRs on exercises. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to be doing exercise. We're going to be doing body weight movements. We're going to be doing some speed-based kettlebell movements as well that are going to challenge you. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get more powerful in those aspects as well. But those are going to be de-emphasized, and really getting your alignment dialed in is going to be bigger part. Learning how to breathe, bigger part. Really dialing in your nutrition, bigger part. So the whole picture is about really creating a stronger lifestyle that works for you on a day-to-day. So that sorry, our dogs, they like to bark at everything possible. So the whole goal is more balance in our lives, and we feel that would be really helpful for everybody right now, and that's why we're doing this. And so to help us do this, we have a couple of really talented people that we're bringing on board. Jesse and I are going to be teaching all the classes, and we're going to be doing all the comments every single day. So every day there is a workout, there's a base, then we're going to have a short workout every single day. There's going to be, Jesse and I are coaching each of those. Then after that, there's comment section under each workout. We want you guys to comment, put your thoughts in there, your questions in there, write down how well you did. And that's where we give a lot of feedback to you so that you're constantly improving and evolving, okay? So that's how we're going to be involved. More base, shorter workouts daily. Then we brought some really talented people in to help you with your breathing. For example, we got a guy named Jared T that's going to be coaching you guys on the benefits of breathing. And he's been coaching it. He's one of the first people in the country to get certified as a breath coach. He got certified under the Iceman, Wim Hof, and he's been teaching it all over the world for many years. Jared is very talented, and he's going to be working with everybody as far as to how to just connect, be aware of your breath and all the benefits that breathing properly can bring to the table, whether you're training or you're sitting at home and just trying to bring yourself more back towards balance. So that's a really key component of this program. The base alignment stuff we will be teaching, okay? But then there's another component that we brought to the table where we have two really, really talented people that are going to be bringing different parts of lifestyle management into play. A guy that I've been working with for a long time, his name is John Allen Mullenhauer. We call him Jam. John is an energy management coach, doctor, basically. He's been working in this field ever since I've known him. He was the one that got me hip to eating plant-based 20 years ago. He literally changed my life. You guys all don't know it. I had arthritis coming on when I was hitting 40 years old, and it was really bad to the point I couldn't even hold something really tight without my hands starting to shake and having severe hand pain. And that was 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago. And it was very bad. And this guy calls me out of the blue for one of my inventions, Powerwell, and asking me questions about it. And then we get on the subject of pain, and he starts to coach me on how to reverse it through plant-based nutrition. And fortunately, it worked really well. my life changed. And because of that, I've been able to influence other people all over the world with plant-based nutrition since that time. And we've been close friends ever since that time. And that's John Allen Mullenhauer. So he's going to be talking a little bit. Do you want to see you talk right now?
No, no, keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
So I got to check in, make sure I'm on the right page. Smart man. All right. So then after that, so John's about energy management and fixing it up into your lifestyle. Then we got a person, Gail Campbell. I've known Gail also for about 20 years. Gail and I are very similar in a lot of respects. Born almost on the same exact day, both basketball junkies our whole life, super high level athlete, just a badass. She's been a firefighter for a long time, and she has transitioned into being a life coach. And I can't think of a better person to be a life coach, because she's pretty badass at everything that she touches. And Gail will be coaching, and a cool thing she's going to be offering, as well as short one-on-one coaching sessions with everybody doing the Body Mastery Challenge. And so she's got some unique points that she's going to be bringing to the table as well. So you have two really high level life coaches that will be helping you out quite a bit. And then our last coach of the day that will be helping you is Vin. Vin, he got associated with Monkey Bar Gym. I'm thinking about 8 years ago, Vin. Would you say that's correct? Thumbs up.
Yeah, 2014, I think.
20. Okay, about six years ago. My bad. Anyways, Vin has a lot of experience with Monkey Bar Gym, but he has one of the more valuable traits, that he went from not in shape to just a beast. And he did this through his Monkey Bar Gym training, but then also he just really said, you know what? I want to learn how to dial in my nutrition. And he started on this path many years ago. And talk about dialed in, god dang. Vin has it dialed in. He wants to help everybody in this program as far as learning how to do reverse dieting, which is all about building up your metabolism and bringing strength to your body so you put muscle on and cut the body fat while enjoying your meals. And it's really powerful stuff. So that is how we're going to be, the people that you guys will have in the Body Mastery Challenge. Now I'm going to...
So I first wanted to just discuss a little bit more, because Johnny told you, the basic whole portion, or why we're doing this course. But there's this little piece I wanted to really focus on, and that's kind of the emotional component of why we have the Body Mastery. The physical component is pretty much there. People really understand that. I mean, when we sent out the questionnaire on, do you guys have any aches and pains? Everything came back with a physical answer. Yeah. Shoulder pain, neck pain, hip pain. There wasn't anything emotional pain, and I wasn't expecting that, but this is part of why we're even putting the Body Mastery together. When I first met John about 20 years ago, I've been training with him under him for 20 years. One of the statements, and he has quite a few statements that he always throws out there, but one of them really stuck with me, because in the very beginning, I didn't understand it. He always said, I before we, before all. And I literally thought he had that statement backwards. Shouldn't it be all before we, before I? And it didn't really dawn on me what he was talking about until I started training. And when I started training, I started hitting these challenges, mental blocks that would be like, Jessica, you should have done better. Or, you're being too lazy in this workout. These like weird little bizarre judgments that were coming up during my workouts. They'd either be during my workouts, and sometimes they'd even be during alignment training. Not everybody has a judge that speaks to them like that. Some people will have a judge that might speak to them like, I'm just starting this program. I'm going to do the best I can. Or I've always lifted with this weight. I'm never going to lift any heavier. They're both kind of on the same spectrum, but on opposite ends. And so, and anything kind of in between, something that resists you, something that stops you from actually jumping into the challenge. And usually it's just fear-based. So we set up this program so that each and every one of you will be challenged in some way, probably the most optimal way for you, so that you push through these challenges, that you grow from these. So some of you will be challenged with patience, with, I don't want to do BAASE every day. This is driving me crazy. This is perfect for you then. Some people will be challenged by, I don't want to do this hard work, this hard exercise. They're asking me to snatch these 2 kettlebells overhead. No freaking way. That's a great challenge for you. So we made this program up strategically so that each and every one of you will be challenged in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's breath, maybe it's nutrition, whatever it is.
Some of you guys that will have the opposite. Some of you, your ego will try to get the best of you in a workout.
Oh, big time.
Where you're like, I have to set a PR today, so I'm going to sacrifice form in order to do that. And that's your ego again hitting. So your ego will hit you going too easy. Oh, I don't use those weights, or it'll hit you going too hard, or it'll hit you going in. It can do it in all aspects. In a base pose, you under challenge yourself, or in a base pose, like what I'll do, I'll be biting my tongue because I'm trying to do the biggest version of the pose, and then I sacrifice getting the alignment right. In your nutrition, you can do the same thing. Oh, I can't do that. Like, we make these imaginary rules up of what we can and can't do. So this is about checking yourself and finding out and getting the coaching and feedback so that we stay more balanced throughout all of these aspects.
And so when we go back to the I before we, before all statement, this is about really dialing in for you. This is about, what are you going to get out of this challenge? How are you going to be dial in more onto what's going on with you, being more aware of where your challenge really is. When I finally got this statement, I understood that I cannot help anyone unless I get my shit together. That was basically how it was. And so when I started realizing, here's my challenge, here's my judge, it's coming right now, I can feel it. Now I'm aware of it. So I have an opportunity to take one path or the other, follow it, or actually do something different and change. And this helped me teach other people. And so that's basically what this is about. Let's get the I together, and then we can do the we, and then we can do the all.
Just so you all understand, the I before we, before all, it is literally, like she said, it's 100% get your stuff together. Focus on your being balanced in all 4 aspects of what we're going through in this 12-week program. Then if you get it and you feel dialed in on it, that's when you can start to work with other people. Then we, and then when you come really sound at it, that's when you reach out to bigger circles. Because what we all want to do, and I've been saying this since day one, opening the Monkey Bar Gym, the thing that we all want to do is help one another. We want to help inspire, encourage, just help people and planet become healthier and happier. Everybody wants to do that. And that's been our goal since day one. And this is really a nice chance for you. Focus on getting your stuff dialed in. And then hopefully the platform after you finish will be that you'll be more adept, more balanced, feeling great, so that you can help other people and people on planet more.
All right, so you guys are really working good with the chat. I'm answering stuff as fast as I possibly can. I think we should go ahead and get started with introductions. And Jared's not here. He's going to do the breathing.
Yeah.
I do want to mention the breathing. We have a breathing seminar that's going to happen on January 14th. This is a Thursday. This is going to be at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Anyone is welcome to join this, not just the Body Mastery participants. It's going to be awesome. Jared, the guy that's going to be taking you through the breathing, is a really good friend of ours. And like John mentioned, he was the first guy, one of the first groups in the United States that was certified through Wim Hof. Does everyone know who Wim Hof is? Can you give me thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs down. Okay, let's explain it really quick.
Wim Hof is, if you Google Iceman, Wim Hof will pop up. He's a guy who is living in a Scandinavian country, and he had severe depression. He was getting really sick, and he looked towards breathing and ice water submersion as means to strengthen his mind, body, and spirit, to persevere and strengthen his body. And he dived into it so hardcore and dramatically changed his lungs, dramatically changed his mind, to the point where scientists could not believe the things that he could do with the control of his breath, with his ability to sit in ice water. He broke some world records swimming under ice in the Arctic Circle, and he's done some pretty impressive things. And he became world famous many years ago. And Jared went over and trained directly underneath him and was the first pair. Him and his friend Chris were the first people in the United States to get certified in the Wim Hof method. They certified me in it as well the next year, but these guys have been teaching it since that time religiously. So Wim Hof, if you Google him, you'll see a lot of pretty damn cool videos on this guy. And he's still doing amazing things with his breathing techniques, but you have somebody in this course that will be teaching you directly. Okay, so that would be, Jared will be speaking on January 14th, Thursday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. John Allen Mullenhauer, I'm gonna turn the mic over to you now, John. John, as I said, has been a great friend of ours for about 20 years. Go ahead, John, and tell him a little bit about yourself.
Hey gang, great to be part of this. I'm really looking forward to this over the next 12 weeks. So John, Jess, thanks for having me be part of this. I'm so excited. Everything I just heard, this is great. And I know we're in the presence of legends on this call, which is awesome. Talking to you, Mr. Gutenberg.
Where is Mr. Gutenberg?
Me?
Mr. Gutenberg. My God, that's great. I've never talked to a Hollywood star before. What's that?
Wait a minute. John and Jesse didn't tell you the truth about me, so hold off on that.
Okay. You're still a legend. You're still a legend. Awesome. Look at that smile. Like, I love that smile. That's vintage. All right. As John just mentioned, I'm John Allen Mollenhauer. Most people know me as John Allen by my initials, Jam. I'm a lifestyle coach and an entrepreneur for 30 years. And, in 20 seconds, basically, I was a workaholic. I was just always overexerted and under recuperated. And though I was pretty expert and adept at nutrition and fitness, I always felt like I was struggling. And I come from the gym business. I was a trainer early on, so I know the fitness game really well. Of course, nowhere near like John and Jess. They're stratospheric. So they're my trainers. And but I think one of the things I can bring to this over the course of the 12 weeks is introduce you to two philosophies that are really like a sister-brother act. The first is managing your energy, because we want to get great results in how we eat and how we exercise. We want to think better. We want to sleep. But if you're not managing your energy really well, it really it distracts and really holds you back from the kind of results that you want. So I'm going to be explaining what energy is and what's actually involved with how to manage it. Steering clear of the esoteric, and really talking about how you can actually apply the principles and practices of energy management in your lives. I think I'm talking twice, right? During the 12 weeks?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and managing your energy is really the crux of what is becoming known as a performance lifestyle, right? It's the next step in the evolution of lifestyle beyond, fitness and health. It's really what we all wake up to do every day, which is function and perform in our, ourselves personally, in our lives, in our businesses, in our families, sports, creative pursuits, whatever the heck it is. So I'm going to be sharing some of the philosophy of what it takes to fully live a lifestyle that supports you and what you're up to in the world. And that's a game changer, because if you tie it right back now to body mastery, if you're living overwhelmed, overstimulated, under recuperated, overfed, even if it's healthy food, I have a PhD in that, because that's how I used to cope with stress. I used to I'm eating the best diet in the world, but I was eating tons of it because I was coping with so much stress. Super busy. No one on this call is physically inactive. It's almost inevitable that we're going to be dealing with, fatigue, weight, and health challenges in our lives. So all of you guys are all into body mastery. Everyone here clearly has an understanding of fitness and to some degree health. So if we can really bookend this, by helping you manage your energy and make some further additional changes in your life to manage stress, your results here in Body Mastery are going to be great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, John. John's going to be essential. The second person in that vein as a life coach is Gail Campbell. So Gail, if you don't mind taking over now, tell a little bit about yourself and what you'll be doing.
Yeah, guys, thank you for having me here. I'm just super excited to be part of this. As John said, this is going to be great. Looking forward to meeting all of you, hopefully one-on-one. If you want to join me, that'd be great. I think that a lot of these areas just overlap and encompass, and it's all one big thing. We're going to work towards, and where I'm going to hopefully lend my experience with the life coaching and wellness coaching is that I'm going to focus on your brain, how you use your thoughts. And I know Jessica mentioned that your emotions play a part. Like, we all do have painful emotions. We have painful thoughts. And those are areas where I'm going to work with you, hopefully, and show you a little bit about what I know and share some of my experience with you. It's going to be pretty awesome because I think there's such a huge amount of power in our brains. If you imagine the idea that if you think you can or think you can't, you're right, by Henry Ford. And I think it's actually something that John and Jessica have said. It's a huge, powerful way. And I think it very much follows after what Jam is going to tell you. And I think that our areas are going to work together very well. So pretty excited.
One thing I want to add to what Gail was just alluding to is all of the, sometimes we think we can, sometimes we think we can't, but remember the statement that we start off with, I before we before all. One of the things I really want you to think about is something, you guys have definitely heard me say this before. I've worked with Tony Robbins for many years. And one of the things that he taught me when we were talking was, he goes, you know what power is? And I'm repeating it. Many of you guys have heard this before. And I gave him the strength coach definition of it. And he said, no, I mean like power, like a powerful person. And I was like, no, what does it mean? And he goes, proximity to. So power, he was saying, was proximity to power. I feel like a lot of times in life, like when I first opened the gym, I knew people came to the gym. Why? Because I'm strong as hell. Mentally, physically, spiritually, I was super strong. Mindset, everything. I was dialed in. People like that. They want to be around that. And I started to understand that. But then also on the reverse, if your mindset is weak, if you tend to make excuses all the time, and you look at things that way, you can also affect in that way. So power is proximity to power, but so is weakness, so is obesity, so is negative thought. Okay, so this is an opportunity over this next 12 weeks also to practice that, to catch ourselves when we're doing, or just catch each other when we're doing that, and think of proximity to, and pay attention to that. And you'll be shocked at how much you'll be aware, because power is proximity to the people around you. The more that we strengthen our community, the more it's going to be uplifted, and it strengthens all those around us. But if we choose to take the other path and everybody goes into negative thought and excuses and stuff like that, we weaken everybody around us as well. And you can fall into that easy, but we can also fall into the other version. Holy crap, Jeff Halber, I did not know that was you. Oh my God. I was looking at this guy on the screen and I was like, who is this guy? And then finally, Jesse scrolled across him. That guy there was one of the first members at the gym. But now he looks like Grizzly Adams, and I could not tell who he was. Holy crap.
I'm back.
Good to see you, Jeff. Oh my God, good to see you.
So good to be here.
Yeah, great to see you. I was like, who is that guy? Because his name didn't pop up right away until Jesse scrolled across it. Anyways, getting back, a huge part of this is inspiring, challenging, but also being aware enough to see if you or somebody else is overdoing it or underdoing it. And let's challenge and inspire each other. That's why a big part of this whole thing is the comment section and the community and asking questions and stuff. I'm going to challenge you, but I'm not going to over challenge you. Sometimes you'll think like, John's over challenged me. Like, I would never, ever try and hurt anybody in there, despite what you might think sometimes that I'm trying to hurt you. I am like by crushing you in a workout. I'm not. I'm trying to challenge you accordingly to your level. Sometimes I might pull you back a little bit. Okay. But it's all with the best intentions. All right. So keep those points in mind. Now, the last person I'm going to introduce today is Vin. Vin's going to talk about reverse dieting. He's going to talk for a little while about it. So we're going to do a little Q&A section afterwards. So if you have a question while he's talking, write it down, and then we'll get to it afterwards. Okay, Vin, take over.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for having me today. I'm so honored to be here. You know, John and Jess are mentors of mine. And as John said earlier, I've been working with them since 2014. And a little background on that, I had, so I used to own a Krav Maga school. So Krav Maga is the self-defense system of the Israeli military since 2009. And in 2014, I actually tore my bicep while I was preparing for my Krav Maga black belt test. And after I took my test, I reached out to John and Jess because I was looking for a program that wasn't just going to focus on fitness, but was actually going to focus on strengthening your body, strengthening your mind, and helping you heal your body through fitness as opposed to just working out. And so, you know, through working with them, I am stronger than I've ever been before, even before I had the injury. And so, you know, I've been able to rehabilitate my body and just really learn to love training from all aspects, from a wellness perspective, not just, you know, doing it as a chore, but doing it because I enjoy it. And so you guys are in great hands with them. I can't think of anybody that has more knowledge on how to master really your body than John and Jess. So, you know, the fact that they asked me to be here today is a really big honor for me. So a little bit more about me. So I'm pretty open about this. So I'm a recovering alcoholic. I almost died of liver failure about 12 years ago. And I had to really turn my life around, and I had to figure out a way to do that. And I did that through launching myself into fitness and martial arts. And, you know, I went at it and realized that this was my calling in life. I ended up dropping 70 pounds, and it just completely changed my life. And I left my career in finance, and I opened up my Krav Maga school because I wanted to share that, you know, life-changing experience with others. And so, you know, for almost 12 years, we did that in New Orleans, not the healthiest place in the world, but we still made it work. And, you know, it's been a labor of love of mine for so long. Unfortunately, we had to close the gym due to COVID back in May of last year. But over the last few years, I've been working with people as a lifestyle coach focusing on fitness, performance, and nutrition. And so it was a natural transition for me to move into this full time. And you know, that's what I'm doing now with clients all over the world. Now, you know, I mentioned my story because and you know what happened to me and what brought me to where I am now, because as I was training and you know, channeling all of my addictive behavior traits into training, I still had those food addictions. So I was quote unquote eating clean, which all of you know what that means. You know, even like, you know, as Jam said earlier, too much of a good thing is still too much, right? You could eat all the healthy food in the world, but if you're not measuring what you're doing, it doesn't get managed. And so even though I was training all the time, I thought I could out-train a bad diet, and that's just not the truth. You know, really in the end, nutrition is for aesthetics, fitness is for wellness, right? We train because it makes us feel good, it makes us feel accomplished, it gets those endorphins going. But if you want to change your body composition, you have to manage your nutrition. And so a few years ago, I was getting ready for a jiu-jitsu competition, and I realized that I had to get this area of my life under control. And I think this encompasses everything that you guys are doing in this program. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So you know, if you are lacking in one area of your life, it's going to permeate through all areas of your life. But if you get, if you get the areas of your life that are lacking in control, it opens up so many possibilities to you in your life. You're just, more mentally sound, physically sound, emotionally sound, spiritually sound, whatever you want to call it, but you have to get that under control. And so I can't think of a better time in our history, and especially in our lifespan, to be healthy, right? To be fit, especially with what we're dealing with all of these external threats, illnesses, and mentioned the stress and anxiety that everybody's going through. This is the perfect time to be doing this program.
Yeah.
And so we're hitting it from all angles. And what I'm going to be working on with you is reverse dieting. And that's something that I've been doing for the last few years. I sought out a coach because I realized that I didn't have this area of my life under control. And even though I was training all the time, I was still, I was around like 15% body fat, which isn't bad. But, I was training 3-4 hours a day. I mean, the luxury of being, a gym owner, I got to train. I told my wife I was working, but I still wasn't reaching the performance level that I knew I was capable of, and also the aesthetic level that I always aspired to achieve. And so I started working with the coach a few years ago, and we started working with reverse dieting. And I went from 15% body fat to now I walk around at about 5-6% body fat, and I do that with very little effort. And it's not something that I paid too much attention to. It's something that has almost gone on autopilot for me. And that's what I want to help you do, is to expose you to this so that you can figure out how to turn this into a lifestyle plan. I hesitate to call it a diet because there's a reason why the word die is in diet, right? They just don't work. You need to find something that is going to be sustainable, and that's going to be a nutrition plan, right? So with reverse dieting, the philosophy behind it is to gradually and strategically increase your daily caloric intake to create metabolic adaptation, increasing your metabolism. So, the problem with the traditional low calorie diets is, as your calories decrease and as your body size shrinks, that means that, you're going to have to cut more calories to keep the fat off. And oftentimes that's at such a low level that it's not sustainable because it doesn't feel like enough. You're constantly hungry. And then what happens is calories slowly start creeping back in and slowly start creeping back in. And that's where the whole yo-yo process starts. And then you have to go back and do it again. And it's just, and it's not enjoyable. And it's, like I said before, it's just not sustainable. So, what we want to do with this is I want to get you to a point where you're feeling great. You have a ton of energy. You're enjoying the foods that you eat, and you're just crushing your workouts, because that's what it's about, right? Because as as your metabolism is increasing, you're going to have, and as you're taking in more calories, you're going to have more energy to put into your workouts. All right. So, when this is done properly, and I'm going to talk about how we're going to develop those baseline metrics and how we're going to build upon that, your BMR is going to increase. So your basal metabolic rate, which that's the amount of calories that you need to survive when you're at rest. Okay. Your workout capacity increases. So you're just going to be absolutely crushing your workouts. You're going to see that not only is your body composition changing, but really you're going to get stronger. You're going to have greater muscle endurance. You're just going to find that your recovery is, a lot better. You're going to be sleeping better. And those are all the things that we want to be looking for. Your non-exercise activity thermogenesis is going to increase as well. So that means just the little things throughout the day, like, fidgeting, or when you're walking and talking on the phone, things like that, just those things that you don't even think about where you're burning calories, your caloric burn is going to be that much higher. And another added benefit health-wise is that your digestion returns to normal, because your body is not trying to squeeze every bit of sustenance out of every single calorie, because it's getting more than enough that it needs to operate at a very high level. So what we're going to do is we are going to start you out at a point where we're going to start you out at a base level, and it's going to depend on whether you're at a stability, strength, or power level. Does that sound familiar? I think a lot of you know what that is. So what we're gonna do, and John and Jess can send you this as well in an email so that you have all this information. I know that they're gonna have have everything in front of you for this, but we're gonna to find the caloric baseline that you're gonna start at. If you're at a stability level, you're gonna take your body weight and you're gonna multiply that by 8. So let's say you're 150 pounds. You're gonna start at 1,200 calories. And then if you're at a strength level, you're going to multiply by 10. So that same 150-pound person would be at 1,500 calories. And if you're at a power level, we're going to multiply it by 12. All right. So that would be 1,800 calories. So, any help that you guys need with the math, we'll all be here as a resource to help you with that. Now, the caloric goal is going to be very important to track. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But you're going to make sure that you're hitting that every day. And then the other very important metric that we're going to be hitting every single day is your protein target. Now, we keep this, you keep your protein at a very high level to keep you from going into a catabolic state, but also to help with the repair and regeneration of muscles, so that, what we want to do is shuttle more of the energy that you're taking in through calories to muscle growth as opposed to your fat cells. So with the whole process, it's about the body recompositioning, building fat or building muscle while burning fat at the same time. Yeah. So the protein number, the multiple of that, you're going to take 80% of your body weight to get the protein target in grams per day that you're going to be tracking in MyFitnessPal. So you're going to multiply. So let's say you're a 200-pound person, you would be taking in 160 grams of protein per day. And so the more things that we can track, like I said before, what gets measured gets managed, the more successful you will be, because you'll be able to start seeing trends. And just the fact that you're tracking things in MyFitnessPal is going to keep you more accountable to yourself. So the more accurate you can be and meticulous with your tracking, the more true your results will be. That's really the truth. Yeah. So, the freedom that this gives you as you go forward, at first it takes a little, it's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you really get dialed in with tracking your food, it allows so much freedom. And since we're not working on a fat goal or a carbohydrate goal, if you are a person who enjoys fats more, after you hit your protein target, the rest of your calories can be used in any combination of carbohydrates and fats. It's just very important to hit your protein, but that really is appealing for a lot of people. And my clients love it because if you're a person who enjoys more fats, you can have more fats. If you are a person who enjoys carbs more, you can have more carbs. So it gives you a lot of freedom to incorporate foods that you like as you get going, as you adapt to this and you learn how to incorporate it into your lifestyle. The key is to really stick to calorically dense whole foods throughout the process, and to make sure that you're eating, as best as you can, ethically sourced foods, things that are not going to have a lot of preservatives, additives. The best way that I can say it is eat foods that are ingredients, not that have multiple ingredients, right? Eat foods that are the main ingredient. And as we're going through, each week, we're going to bump up your calories slightly. All right. And so it allows, by doing it slowly, gradually, and strategically, your body can adapt to it. And so the way we're going to do it is if you're between 100 and 150 pounds, that baseline caloric target that we found by that multiple, either the stability, strength, or power level, if you're between 100 and 150 pounds, you are going to raise your calories by 50 calories per week. Okay. The protein number is going to stay the same throughout the whole process. And so we're going to work on 2 6-week cycles. So what's going to happen is each week over the first 6 weeks, you will be bumping your calories. If you were in that 100 to 150 range, by 50 calories. If you're between 150 to 200 pounds, by 75 calories per week. And then if you're at 200 plus pounds, we're going to bump it by 100 calories per day. And so after the first 6 weeks, we're going to get you to a point, right, where you're eating significantly more, but your metabolism has risen at the same time to match that. And you're going to see what your output is in your workouts. You're going to see what's happening with developing some lean body muscle, as well as dropping some body fat. And really the best way to look like you put on 10 pounds of muscle is to drop 10 pounds of fat. expose that, right? So that's, that's, most people think that they got to get big and bulky. It's not about that. It's about being lean and strong and healthy and powerful. So after the first 6 weeks, we're going to drop that number back down, but you're going to drop down to a number that was higher than where you started in week 1. And then we'll slowly start building you up again. So we work in these undulating cycles. So the goal is to get you to a maintenance number where you're eating significantly more than you were eating before, which is enjoyable. It's never fun to be, to feel hungry and calorically restricted. And to figure out where that maintenance number is going to be. So over the 12 weeks, we'll work in those 2 6-week cycles. And what we're going to really look to do is to track as many things as possible. So along with tracking your food on a daily basis, you should be weighing yourself every day. And the reason why I like to do that, and I have my clients do that, is just it gets you in that mindset from the second your feet hit the ground to, I see that number on the scale, and the daily fluctuations really are not anything to worry about. It's more about just that mindset of, like, when you get on that scale, that you're executing that mission for the day, right? That this is something I'm going to be focusing on for the day. And we're going to be doing the Navy method for calculating body fat. We're going to be taking measurements. John and Jess, are we going to be having them do measurements weekly?
I like to do it weekly. I do it
Okay.
every Sunday, and so does Jesse. That's what I recommend.
Okay.
But if you want to do it every other week, that's fine too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I recommend doing it weekly just because you can, results beget results. And when you see the progress, it gets you that much more motivated. But then also, you can start paying attention to trends, and we can see if we need to make any adjustments as the process is going through. And that's all going to be by how much tracking you're doing with on a weekly basis. And then you should be aiming to get at least half your body weight in ounces of water per day. All right, that's something that's going to be huge. The more water that you can drink, the better.
Repeat that.
You should, and
Can you repeat
say that one more
that?
time.
Will you repeat
Oh,
that?
yeah. Yeah, so whatever your body weight is, you should be getting in at least half your body weight in ounces per day. So if you're using that 150-pound person, again, 75 ounces would be your goal. But any more than that is great, right? But that should be kind of like a minimum baseline for what you're taking in with water. Now, another thing that is going to be really, what was that?
I don't think anyone was talking. Go ahead, Ben.
Okay, I thought I heard somebody say
Wow.
something. Sorry about that. So the next thing that you're going to be tracking, and I'm sure John and Jess are going to be working with you on this, is your workouts, because I want you to see how much your performance is improving. And I think that this is awesome to incorporate with this program, because you're going to really, I'm sure you guys have worked out before and you weren't tracking things, and it's really hard to see progress, and you may not feel it, but when you look back at those numbers, where you performed when you did the workout before to where you did it again later, or similar exercises, or you moved up in weight, or you got more reps, you're going to really be blown away by how nutrition not only impacts your body composition, but your ability to perform at a very high level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to get this kicked off. If you do have any questions, if you want to drop them in the chat, I'll be happy to answer those once we finish up the call. And then anything else, John and Jess have my information. They can pass that on if you need to email me, ask questions. But I'm just really excited and honored to be on this journey with you guys. And,
Well, thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much, Vin, Gail, John, and Jared will be on board as well for all helping with this event. Now, we have some other speakers that will be coming on as well that will be really, they'll have some really great stuff to be teaching as well and just sharing with everybody. Now, one of the questions that comes to mind is when Vin was breaking it up as far as stability, strength, and power, that's a terminology we've been using for 20 years at the Monkey Bar Gym. It's really easy to differentiate. If you're a novice to fitness, if you don't really work out intensely or you just started out, you cannot do a regular dead hang pull-up, most likely your stability level, okay? If you still question, some of you guys, if you question though, whether you should, there's different things will help you individually with that. If you can do a pull-up or a few and you've been working out for a couple of years, pretty good, you're probably strength level. If you can do double-digit pull-ups, 30 to 40 or more push-ups, stuff like that, you're probably power level. Okay, so just understand, and you train pretty intensely, 5 days a week or something like that, monkey bar gym or whatever, you're probably power level. So that's how you differentiate those 3 levels.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. And we'll send this out to Body Mastery participants again, just to reiterate. But we do have some questions for Vin. So Travis asked, is there guidance on food recommendations for increasing protein intake? I find it really hard to eat that much. First, I want to say, yeah, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
But I also want to see if Vin has any suggestions or recommendations on that.
Yeah, so really sticking with lean sources, lean sources of protein, obviously, the staples, eggs, salmon, chicken, turkey, things like that. But if you are plant-based, John and Jess would be the ones to go to for advice with that. I do have a food list that I can provide to give you guys some guidance. I can share that with John and Jess, and they can send that out to you guys. And that will give you just a baseline of foods that are going to be non-inflammatory, that aren't going to cause any sort of GI distress, and just, good, whole, clean sources of food that are going to help you perform at a much higher level.
Thank you. Gail also asked, can you talk about how your eating plan became autopilot eating? This is a really interesting question because we've been doing this for a while, and I've also found that I'm like, oh my gosh, it just sinks in, and it's all of a sudden like I don't have to think about it like I had to think about my food and eating all before I started this. So Vin, if you want to shed some light on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Gail. The way that we approach this is it's about the way that you can make this a sustainable plan that can go on autopilot is if you're incorporating foods that you enjoy, because the more that you enjoy it, the less it becomes a chore. And when it's not a chore, then it's just something that you enjoy doing. And so the things that we enjoy doing, we put more effort into, right? So with me, and the reason why I say I'm on autopilot now is working on that calorical and that protein target. It allows you so much freedom for eating the things that you like to eat. And so it's okay to have things occasionally that may or not be on this list that I'm going to provide. But you can figure out how to, I eat pizza with my wife and my son sometimes. I'll have a burger occasionally. And it's all about finding balance and doing things in moderation. But for example, so I hit a protein goal and my caloric target on a daily basis. And, by tracking what I'm going to eat, I plan out what I'm going to eat for the day. It takes me like 2 minutes. And if I'm going to go out to eat, I just input that in. And, I know that I'm going to have the freedom because I have all of these extra kind of swing calories besides my protein target. So I can have those foods that are going to have a little bit higher fat in them. And so my family and I have been traveling across the country in an RV for the last almost 5 months. And that's involved, living in a trailer where we don't have much room to meal prep all the time, eating fast food sometimes because we have to, because we're on the road, or, obviously we're traveling the country. So we want to enjoy the different cuisine around the country. And I have actually, in the last few months, I have managed to put on muscle, and I'm actually about 10 pounds heavier since I started about, 4.5 months ago, and my body fat has gone down.
That's cool.
And I've been eating like a champ. I'm sure John and Jess could share, they're friends with me on Facebook. They can see some of like the massive like food challenges I've been doing.
Now with that said, Vin, now another component of this that Jesse and I fast almost every day. When we wake up, we fast for about the first 4 hours of the day. Vin, do you want to talk at all about integrating fasting into this as well?
Absolutely. So I've been working on the 16-8 protocol for about 5 years, and it's something that I have a lot of my clients do. So for those of you who aren't, familiar with intermittent fasting, it's a time restricted feeding window. So essentially you have a certain amount of hours per day that you're eating. I like to call it my feeding window because it drives my wife nuts, but it's an eating window. And so you have a certain amount of time to eat. And so the philosophy behind it is that when you have a limited amount of time to eat, you will eat less calories, right? So that's like the baseline of it. But really what it does for me is it provides a lot more convenience because I don't have to have that first meal in the morning. So the easiest way to do it is by skipping breakfast. And then, so the majority of your fast is done while you're sleeping. I like it because it helps, it does help to keep me very lean. I feel like I'm a lot more mentally aware, especially in the morning. I'm firing on all cylinders. I wake up, I get to work. I just, by not having breakfast, I don't have to worry about that. And I find that, oftentimes, training in a fasted state for me, it keeps me mentally dialed in the workout because I know what's my reward at the end of that workout. I get to have that first meal of the day.
Yeah.
So I think intermittent fasting works very well with this. The only issue would be if you're not able to get in all of your calories as the calories start increasing. So if that, if you want to incorporate fasting, I highly encourage it. But if you're finding that you're not able to get your calories in because of that, the restriction with that window, you can either open the window up and give yourself more hours for your eating window, or, really, if you're managing your nutrition on this level from the approach, fasting is, if you don't fast, it's not going to impact the process.
Yeah, I'd like to say on that note, Vin, when I started learning all this from Vin, I at first was just learning, and you'll learn how to balance it all out. And that's why I use the comment section, ask other people for advice and stuff. But when my calories were quite a bit lower, I could go to the feeding window, but when they started getting up really high, I opened my feeding window up, just like Vin said, so that I didn't feel like I was stuffing myself so much. But you'll figure it out as you go along, but ask, because other people are doing this. It works really well, but you always want to feel good anyways while you're on this path.
So we have a few more questions. So Vin, Julie asked, what is realistic in timing to see results? I think that's a good question.
So I mean, the key is so if you should be taking progress pics every week, and I'm glad you asked this question. So you should be taking progress pics every week, and those are big for you because you can see the net change, because it's really hard when we're looking in the mirror every day to see change in ourselves, right? We're very critical of ourselves, but if when you take those weekly pictures, you'll be able to start seeing the definition. But the goal within the 12 weeks is to drop at a minimum like 10 to 15 pounds, and to aim for about 3 to 5% body fat reduction, if not more. But that's just kind of baseline what we should be targeting. But you should be seeing results in your body composition within the first 2 weeks.
Yep.
And so we're starting you off at that lower number, but your mind is going to be blown, I promise you, as you start seeing that you're eating more and your body fat is going down, and you feel like you're seeing a lot more muscle. It just, that's where the process really solidifies, because you're like, oh my God, this is working and I'm enjoying it. I finally found something that I can stick to.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts to go on autopilot, if
Right.
that makes sense, because
Exactly.
you make that mind. Yeah, because you make that mind muscle just satisfaction connection.
So we have a question. I want to open up the floor for Keaton. He has a question that he said would be better if he just asked it in person. So we'll just go ahead. Keaton, you want to ask?
This is actually Fatima hijacking Keaton's audio. Thank you for all this great information. I'll make this question quick. Basically, I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I spend a large portion of my life with regards to nutrition looking to external rules for guidance. And it took me a long time to move towards being in touch with my internal hunger cues. And so I have a lot of fear approaching anything that is really rigorous when it comes to dictating rules for eating habits. So I wonder if Vin, you have any thoughts on that, or I'll open up to any of the coaches guidance on that point.
Thank you, Fatima. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And so, in the beginning, it takes some adjusting and getting used to, but the fact that we're only tracking those two things, right, your calories and your protein, it's for anybody who's done macros before, you know how restrictive it can be and how meticulous you have to be about it. With this, you know, the freedom that you have with those, the calories that you can allot to fats and carbs, and the fact that you're going to be eating things that you know that are keeping you engaged and that you enjoy eating, that's what's going to lead to, you know, this not being something that is going to, you know, encumber you mentally. Now, it's something that I've dealt with a lot. You know, I have a lot of clients that have had eating disorders and other, you know, issues when it comes to food. And initially, just like with everything else, change is difficult, but you know, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So the reason why tracking allows you freedom, you know, the initial work that you're doing in the beginning, you'll see once you get the hang of it, it's far less than probably other methods that you've tried when you know, doing things that are too strict or restrictive. If that makes sense.
I agree.
I want to add into that, Fatima, and anybody else. My story quick, although I've been fit most all my life, that even all you guys know me as, I had a severe eating disorder growing up. I mean, I stopped eating twice in my life and had to be intravenously fed because I didn't feel like I deserved food. That's messed up. So I always, as a trainer, I felt like that I could control it and stuff like that. And I always manage it because my work output was so high. I always say lean. 2 years ago, when I tore my hip up accident, then I could no longer run or jog or do any cardio stuff. I slowly started to gain weight, and I started panicking a little bit, but my weight was constantly going up. And although I was doing my strength training, my lack of movement, my weight just kept going. And that's why I asked Vin a while back, and what it did for me, because as I related to some of you previously, I had a big fear of not of thinking, okay, I gotta eat less, I gotta do it this way, like a lot of you guys probably do. And counting calories, I dig it. I've never done it at the gym, really never promoted it. But when I saw Vin get such results, I just said, okay, just do it. Even though, you know, you're not an advocate of counting calories, just do it anyways. And within the first week or two, just what he said is, it gave me a freedom, because now I know how much I'm taking in instead of panicking, even though I felt like I was eating on point and not overeating or anything like that. Most of my time, I found I wasn't eating enough. And I would have this lethargy all the time. And then we'd always just blame it on, oh, I'm teaching all these classes, et cetera, like that. And I wasn't eating enough, and my strength would always ebb and flow like that all the time. And when I started counting the macros and the protein and stuff like that, I noticed an increase in energy. My spirit felt like, oh, good. Like I felt like I can eat some Halo ice cream at night, and I get a thumbs up from Vin on it that, yeah, go for it, knock it out. Have a burger, you know, eat whatever if you want a little extra and stuff, because you're still hitting your numbers. That gave me such a sense of, oh my God, I can breathe almost, that I wanted to share that with you guys, because I've been there, and it gives a sense of relief and freedom to you, that if you have those issues like that I know I struggled with, and this gave me a sense of relief. And now I find that I'm actually eating more than I would have. My strength numbers are going up every single week, and my energy level is up too. And I'm not now saying, oh, it's being on the computer all day. It works quite well, and I feel much more relieved and free from it. So hopefully that connects with some of you guys.
And we have another question. I think this is the last question, from Sandy, my mom.
Yeah.
So how does this work if you're a diabetic?
So I think that could be a question that we can address based on what your doctor has you doing with your nutrition. And I think that'll be more about what we're doing with the fat and the carbohydrate intake.
Yep.
I think it'll be about finding the right ratio for you based on what your doctor says, and that's something that we can talk about.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys. So if is anyone on the screen that's not part of the Body Mastery, I put a link in there. Also, you can email me personally if you want me to sign you up. I will put my email in here. If you're not already signed up, you can contact me personally. Any other final questions? Thumbs up, or are we good? There are 2 questions above. There were 2
Okay.
questions above. So I think someone did ask, Lawrence, you did ask, Vegan Steel. He asked about the 2 6-week cycles where you increase your total caloric intake by 50 calories per week. Do you do something different for the second 6 weeks? And Vin, you mentioned that, but can you just repeat that again?
Sure. Yeah. So what we're going to do is as we, we bump up the calories over those initial 6 weeks, when we get to week 7, we're going to drop your calories back down. But that baseline in week 7 is going to be higher than where you started in week 1.
Yeah.
And then we'll slowly but surely raise it up. And then when you drop it down again, then you raise it back up. If it's something you want to continue to do after the 12 weeks. And I'm pretty sure that it is something that you're going to want to continue to do, because you're going to see, as John was saying, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable, and it really gets rid of that stigma of, I can only eat these foods, and I have to do it in this sort of window, and I have to do it in this conglomeration, and it kind of throws all that to the wayside, and it's just about eating for performance, eating for fuel, eating for health.
And the last question, I think this is a good one. Jenny asked, would you suggest protein powders to increase protein? It seems like it is one of the only ways to get to her protein grams that she needs, and she doesn't want to eat a lot of meat. I mean, we do have people who are eating different kinds of diets. We've got vegans, we got ketogenics, we got all kinds of people on the screen here. And what is the best option? And do you suggest protein powders?
Yes, I have my clients lean heavily on protein powders. If you're not if you're not a person who takes in a lot of animal protein, there are a couple of things that I recommend. So whey protein is always good, but there are people that are unable to take that in. There are plant-based proteins. I think John and Jess can probably be the best to guide you with those. But a couple brands that I like for protein, is it okay if I mention them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I like Optimum Nutrition's Hydro Whey. That's a really good one. They have a vanilla and a chocolate flavor, and I like those because it's pretty much just a pure protein source. So it has very little residual carbohydrates and fats. So the problem with a lot of protein powders, when you are picking a protein powder, you want to make sure that it's mostly focused on the proteins, and that there aren't an excessive amount of fats and carbs in there, because that's what can tend to throw things off. Now, another brand that I like, there's a brand called Prestige Labs. They have a homemade vanilla ice cream protein, and it really tastes like homemade vanilla ice cream. It's really good. So that's another one that you can check out. But really, what you want to be looking for is something that's going to have a very high protein to carbohydrate and fat ratio.
Yeah. Now, in plant-based ones, they're going to have a little bit more carbs in them. There are a couple that have lower amounts of carbs. There's one that's Nuzest, Nuzest, has very little amounts of carbs in it. It's just a pure pea protein. But this one here, KOS, this is not a bad plant-based protein. We like this one a lot. And then if you want to just be the most healthy person you can take, and as far as supplement wise, I'm not kidding. There is nothing close to this guy's Elite Greens protein. This is by Health Force Nutritionals. And this is literally like comparing a 2K kettlebell to a 48K kettlebell. This stuff here is by a friend of ours, Dr. Jameith Sheridan, who all he was about was making the most powerful, cleanest, conscious plant-based proteins on the planet. This is spirulina, chlorella. This stuff is really powerful. And it's not like a typical protein powder that is like what Vin was saying. Those are great sources. You can get pure whey, you can get egg protein. J-Rob's a great source for that, both of those. And you can get this KOS one. Those are more common protein powders where they're just protein. You know, this here one
This is
though,
power level.
this is super power level. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to jump into that one and take a
It doesn't
tablespoon
taste
of
like
that.
vanilla, I'll tell you that.
You might want to use a little stevia
little
or
bit.
some of the other protein powder to ratchet it
Yeah,
down,
calm
but
down a little.
we wanted to give you guys a couple different options. So Vin has this dialed in, and hopefully we've answered most of the questions for you guys. And again, if you don't have, if you have any questions, please ask, because this is about the we portion. Okay, this is about the all portion. And we want to help you guys just crush this program and your lifestyles as much as possible. Does anybody have any last things you want to say?
One
All
thing
right.
I forgot to mention was Jam will be speaking on Saturday, January 23rd at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Again, this is open to everyone, and we'll send out reminders and links, and we'll do our email list like we did before. And then Gail will be speaking on Saturday, January 30th at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Again, we'll give you a heads up on that too, okay?
So thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all those that signed up for the Body Mastery Challenge. John, Gail, thanks for being here and telling us a little bit about what you do. Vin, thank you so much for breaking it down. Vin has really got an amazing story, and we're going to really lean on him a lot during this whole 12 weeks. So ask questions as much as possible so you can dial it in even more. Thank you guys for coming and talking today. Again, we're really excited about this, and we can't wait for y'all to just crush it. So thank you all so much for coming today. Have a great weekend. Do your test if you're doing the course. Anything else, hon?
I think that's it.
All right, you guys. Take care, everybody. Thank you for showing up.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Ben, John, Gail.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice to
Thank
see
you.
Forward to the
All
journey.
Bye.
12 weeks. Let's do it.
12
All
weeks.
right, all
on.
right.